Sam Allardyce arrived in Newcastle on Tuesday morning ahead of his unveiling as the new manager of Newcastle United. The 52-year-old landed at the Newcastle City heliport next to the River Tyne, but that was not before he asked his pilot to take a tour over St James's Park. Newcastle World TV were the first to speak to the Tune's new gaffer. Well, Sam, on behalf of everyone, welcome to Newcastle United. You certainly made quite an arrival via helicopter. Tell me, what was that like, circling over St James's Park?
Yeah, well, I asked the pilot if he could just ask control if we could take a trip over there just before we landed, right next to it, and to see it from above. Obviously, I've been here many times as the away manager, and of course I always enjoyed the atmosphere at St James's Park. But now it's my home club, and I'm looking forward really to the new season coming up. There'll be a lot of hard work between now and the start of the new season, of course, getting settled in, restructuring the club, and building up the staff and the players, and hopefully giving them the encouragement, the support, and the desire to be as successful as they possibly can. And hopefully that will be enough for the Newcastle fans.
And Sam, when you knew of Newcastle's interest, how long did it take you to make up your mind?
Well, it took long over the weekend, to be fair. We met on Fridays, obviously. We didn't keep that very secret, of course, but since then it's moved very quickly, and I'm glad to say that my rest hasn't lasted too long, and I'll get a bit of a holiday from now on, but then look forward to getting my teeth into this new job. And it's a big task, of course. As we all know, the recent past of Newcastle have not delivered what the fans and the chairman and everybody around in the city wants, and it's my job to try and make that as successful as I possibly can in the period of time I'm here.
And Sam, it's been said before that you've been offered the job in the past. What was different this time? What really made you make up your mind and come to Newcastle?
Well, I think that finally, my time at Bolton was where I'd done as much as I could, and I think that for me it was time to get away from that, which is obviously a big wrench for me. But then there comes a massive challenge very quickly to take on Newcastle United, and that makes you have to think very quickly about whether you want to stay at the game any longer, whether you come back in, and whether anything like this would come your way again. 3 years ago I didn't think it was right for me at the time, and I spoke to Freddie about that and said I'm really very, very pleased with the offer that he made, but for me at the moment I want to do something with Bolton. I've done that. I've got them into Europe twice, into the UEFA Cup twice. If I'm sure if I can repeat that in the next 3 years at Newcastle, the fans will be a lot happier, but we'll always want more, and I'll try and give them more and giving it the best shot I possibly can, and like I said, I'm looking forward to giving myself as much success as I possibly could or can, and that's why I've joined a club the size of Newcastle.
And how big a challenge is this for you, Sam, given the expectations of the supporters, how passionate people are about football in the North East? Is this the biggest challenge of your managerial career?
I think so. I think that I've taken a big gamble, I think, because everybody knows what a fantastic club it is, and everybody knows the size of the club and the facilities and the resources that it has. But you've got to make all that work the right way for a club to be successful, and a lot of work behind the scenes from me, the backroom staff, the players, even the chairman and the directors have to work all together, have to get the communication lines right, have to keep each other in touch, have to work within the job descriptions that we were given, and then really go all hell out together to work for each other and with each other to try and bring some success to the club. And for me to do as much as I can to give the players every opportunity to give of their best every time they walk over the white line, that's my job, that's my most important job. Whatever they do on the field is a reflection of me and of Newcastle United, and I want them to play to their full potential. And there is a lot of potential here at Newcastle, as we all know. There's a lot of money being spent on a lot of big players. The big players are still here. They have to start producing big performances on a regular basis, and hopefully I can get that out of them starting next season.
And Sam, one thing that can be said about you, you're a very thorough manager. Will you be bringing that level of detail to Newcastle with regards to your statisticians and dietitians?
Yes, without a doubt. I think that it's science in football and football and science have been married up for a long period of time, as far as I'm concerned, and everywhere else in football now. but over the last 8 years I've learnt an awful lot about the detail that's needed and the minute detail that makes the ultimate difference in every single game. So I'm going to run through that detail with the players and hope to get them to buy in as quickly as they can. Some will, some won't, some will like it, some won't, but I know it works because of the success I've had at Bolton, so I'm going to implement that sort of training, those sort of methods here at Newcastle United, give those players the opportunity to take up what we offer them, give them everything that they need so they have no excuses for not performing to the level that they can on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Wednesday, whenever it might turn to be the game.
And it's been suggested in the press, Sam, that you left Bolton because you felt maybe you couldn't win trophies there. So does that suggest that you feel you can win trophies at Newcastle United?
Yes, it's one of the reasons why I'm here. I think that my time at Bolton was absolutely fantastic for me, and everybody that worked there, I think, had a great time while I was there. And of course that time has meant that when I've left them on a high. I've left them in a great position, a lot better position when I first took them over. So my ambition would be, when I do eventually walk away from Newcastle, they're in a much healthier and better state and produce much more than they have in the last 2 or 3 years. And I know then that I've been successful, and hopefully within that I'll have won something.
And how much work is needed, Sam, here, given the fact you've got players like Michael Owen at your disposal, young England under 21 players such as Stephen Taylor and James Milner? You have really got a good set of players you're inheriting.
Yes, but I think it needs a good bit of strengthening. Like every summer, there's a need to make sure you bring better players in. I think there's also from the outside looking in that there's a need to have a bigger resilience when we haven't got the ball and stop being a soft touch in terms of conceding goals. So we'll have to build a strong defensive unit as well as a high quality attacking unit, and we all have to work together when we're with the ball, and we'll all have to work together without it. And if we can get that right, and we can get the right team spirit, I mean, without any team spirit, if there's fractions in the dressing room, it doesn't matter how good the players are. It's my job to make sure that doesn't happen. It's my job to make sure that the staff within the club work with the players and make sure there are no cliques, and make sure there are no Chinese whispers, and make sure the communication is always clear and precise. And I have to, if there is any, stamp that out as quick as I can, because without team spirit, without the belief altogether, without playing as a team, individuals can't win anything, only a team can.
It seems, Sam, any Geordie ex-Newcastle player who's worked with you in the past has been linked with a move to Newcastle as part of your backroom staff. Any clues as yet as to who will be on your coaching team?
No, not yet. I think that my first job is to obviously introduce myself to the staff today and to the players that were here. That's why I've taken the opportunity to ask them to stay over. I know they all want to get on their holidays, particularly the players. They've had a long, hard season, 50 odd games this year, so they do need a good rest. But I needed just to say hello to them, which I've done, and the staff, and obviously familiarise myself as the weeks go by, and start putting one or two things into place as soon as I possibly can, and to try and get the fans as much as they can to be as patient as they can. I was listening to Alan's comments in the paper, Alan Shearer, who's obviously the legend, the hero here, and saying that the manager needs time, and I've got to make my own time, as it were, in many ways, by making sure I keep the first team results right, and that allows me the time to work behind the scenes to keep doing the things that I need to do to get the staff in place and get everybody 100% behind the first team and the first team results. And if I can do that, then the results will improve quite quickly. If I get a little bit more patience, inevitably I know the results will be right if we do the right recruitment of staff and the right recruitment of players.